All right, so we did lesson 11 today in class, Monday, November 30th. This is a quick look at everything on deck for today. We looked at our opening learning targets, completed another section of the Analyze Point of View Note Catcher for Chapter 12. We read chapters 13 and 14 in class, and then worked on the Analyze Language Possum Note Catcher. So let's get into our opening and look at our learning targets. I can analyze a character's point of view in chapter 12 and how it is developed by the author. I can analyze the impact of the author's use of connotative and figurative language to develop Cal's point of view in chapters 13 and 14. I can analyze the impact of the author's use of language variety to understand Possum's character. So the first thing we needed to do was to add to our Analyze Point of View to Rhodes Note Catcher. And today we focused on chapter 12, and we looked at Superintendent Morrill and his point of view toward Native Americans. So we said that Superintendent Morrill's point of view toward Native Americans was overall negative, and that he felt they needed to be civilized. Our text evidence to support that, two pieces. One found on page 141, where Superintendent Morrill talks about the students' savage forebears. And then on page 146, when Superintendent Morrill said to Cal and Pop directly, "Your race might be bred out of existence before achieving the full benefits of civilization." And that the author uses Superintendent Morrill's direct dialogue and speech to develop his point of view. Then we read chapters 13 and 14 in class, so make sure that you do that. Then you have a gist vocab assignment for chapters 13 and 14. Remember, if there is more than one chapter, there needs to be more than one gist. So you need to give me two gists and then choose one of these 4 vocab words to use correctly in a sentence. And you'll be doing that in the text box and submitting that. We also today worked through this Analyze Language Variety Possum Note Catcher. So everyone made a copy of this note catcher that we then worked through together before it was submitted. And so all of these are quotes from the book, things that Possum said. And then you had to identify who was Possum speaking to, and then what were they talking about. So the very first one, Possum is speaking to Superintendent Morrill, and this is Possum's response when he was given a direction. Same for the second quote. "Yes, sir, even if it means I die trying." Again, talking to Superintendent Morrill, and that's a response to a direction that was given. The next set of quotes are all Possum to Cal. And the first one, "Lots here never got nothing taught but English." Possum is trying to make Cal feel better for not knowing any Creek language, but that's not what any but the teachers call me. Again, to Cal, Possum was referring to his nickname or his moniker being Possum. 111 of us in here. "You will make it an even 112. Possum saying to Cal that there are now 112 students at Shillogee with him. And then, "It'll be safe with me, Jay. You can trust me." Possum talking to Cal, calling him Jaybird, talking about the pack that Cal has to leave with Possum to go into the infirmary. 2 questions here. How does Possum's language change depending on whom he is talking to and what he is talking about? Possum's language is more relaxed and informal with Cal versus the more formal and polite language he uses with Superintendent Morrill. Part 3, what can the reader infer about Possum based on his language variety? We can infer that Possum is smart and witty in his use of language as it is appropriate with both audiences. So he speaks correctly to adults and then to friends. So get that completed and submitted. And then we did not get to this last part, which is completing the Analyze Point of View for chapter 14. So we will get to that, or excuse me, chapters 12 and 13 that we read today. So we'll get to that tomorrow. We are moving on to chapter 15 tomorrow, and today's the final day for test corrections, if that's something that you are eligible to do.